What's going on, everyone? This is Jay from Premier Gaming Entertainment, and I wanted to give you my thoughts and feelings about the whole Kawhi Leonard DeMar DeRozan trade. At the time, I saw the rumors, saw what Vegas had said. This is before the trade, and when they said that the Raptors had like the highest chance of landing Kawhi Leonard, I couldn't believe it. I said, no, there's no way possible, And then lo and behold, one day or one morning, I'm checking out the news and find out that we actually made the trade. And when I saw who we traded for and who we gave up, I was like, I understood that in order to get Kawhi Leonard, obviously we were going to have to give up a very valuable asset from our standpoint. And I wanted to give my opinions of what I thought about the trade. First and foremost, I have two thoughts. One from an organizational standpoint and one from a fan standpoint. So, from a fan standpoint, I hate to see DeMar go. To me, from a fan standpoint, I really appreciate everything that he did as a Toronto Raptor. He's one of the few people that actually stuck with the Raptors and actually wanted to stay and play out his whole thing with the organization. It's very rare that you see someone of his caliber that wants to stay. Every other player that got some sort of status, all-star status, or whatever the case may be, first opportunity that they had, they wanted to jump up and leave. Only exception I would say would be, believe it or not, Vince. At least the first go around, anyways, where he did actually re-sign with the team. But then, over the course of time, that situation got toxic. But whether it be Damon Stoudemire, Tracy Murray, T-Mac, Vince, Antonio Davis, all these guys, once they got a little bit of clout and notoriety, once people started to know about them and stuff like that, they wanted to bounce. So it was rare to see, someone like DeMar, who's an actual NBA All-Star, that wanted to stay with the team and re-sign with the team. Him and Kyle, they both did the same thing. So from a standpoint of a fan, it was hard to see him go because of his commitment and loyalty to the team and him wanting to be there. Now, from an organizational, from a team standpoint, personally, I don't love the trade, but I felt as though they had to do something. And the reason I say that is because the Raptors were just lacking. There was just something that they needed in order to get themselves over the top. And I say that, it's insanity is, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting, a different result from it. So every year, I know, and you could say, well, LeBron is gone and, that was what was stopping them. I don't think that was the case. Because honestly, in previous series, it wasn't even LeBron that was killing them. It was Kyrie was killing them. And Kyrie's gone. And I made the video saying, we have no excuse for not beating these guys. And we still lost. So as an organization, I could see all the execs sitting there in the room and saying to themselves, and regardless of LeBron being in LA or whatever the case may be, if we run it back again with these same guys, what's to say that this year we don't lose to Boston? Or we lose to Philly. The team was good, it was very good, but just not good enough. And I thought the writing was on the wall for something to happen with DeMar. And this was game 3 of the playoffs against Cleveland. And if you guys remember, game 3, we're down, we're trying to come back, it's the fourth quarter, and we're clawing ourselves back in the game, and DeMar is just sitting on the bench. And we got all the way down to the point where we actually tied up the game without DeMar. And of course, that was the game where LeBron hit that crazy floating sideways shot off the backboard to beat us. But that was just, to me, that was just huge. And it was almost like I wanted to bookmark that game and just see what was going to happen after that. Because I know this sounds harsh, but it just showed the organization that they could win without him. Or they could play good without him. And this trade was huge for the organization from the standpoint of, in return for trading away DeMar, you get probably the best two-way player in the whole entire game. And, from that standpoint, you get a guy that is going to be better on offense and defense than DeMar. I love DeMar. He's a great player, but, there were certain holes in his game, definitely on the defensive end. And that was part of the issue. I know that the Raptors on efficiency were top 5 for both offense and defense for the year, but DeMar was always like the one player on the team that was like he held the team back defensively. Like he was always a liability on defense. So with the addition of Kawhi and Danny Green, you're now going to have a replacement on defense for him that's going to be notches above what we had in the past. Plus, you're going to still have a very solid bench. And, after the trade, I hated to see Jakob go because I thought he was a really good player. But since then, they've gone out and signed Greg Monroe. Not exactly the best defensive player, but a very good offensive center that's going to replace Jakob as far as being the backup center. And, it's not going to be exactly the same for the bench mob, but it's going to at least fill that gap that was left with him leaving. So I feel as though that this team is going to be even better this year than it was last year. And, I feel as though we have the opportunity to go to the NBA Finals. I know you're going to say Boston's going to be up there, Philly's going to be up there. It's going to be very, very tight, and it might come down to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference, final between the Raptors and Boston or whoever it may be, maybe Philly. But I think that this team is even better than it was last year. As far as the whole controversy, as far as the GM with Masai and telling DeMar he wasn't going to get traded, and then he gets traded and all that stuff. I mean, I feel bad for DeMar. Like I said, he was real loyal to, Toronto, the city, the fans, everything like that, the organization. And I feel bad for him that he got traded. But, and I know this sounds harsh as well, but I mean, at the end of the day, Um, Unfortunately, the NBA is still a business, and you know, I don't blame the GM for making whatever moves he felt were best for the team. So, if he felt that this move was going to be the move that put the Toronto Raptors over the top and got them to the NBA Finals, I mean, I don't blame him for making that move. You know? Because at the end of the day, he has to answer to somebody. And all that matters in professional sports is winning. So he's going to do whatever he has to do to improve the team. And I'm pretty sure when he had that whatever conversation he had with DeMar at the time, he probably didn't even think that this was on the table. Or if it was on the table, he didn't think it had legs. And then, lo and behold, all of a sudden now, there's a deal on the table. And that deal was going to improve the team. I mean, I can't see the GM saying to himself, well, you know what? I have an opportunity to make our team better. But, you know, I got this player here that, you know, I said this to, so I'm not going to make this deal to make our team better because of something I said. It's, you know, it's a slippery slope, and I understand that. Because it's a matter of loyalty versus making your team better. But at the end of the day, you know, nobody is immune from getting traded. Certain guys in the NBA, or whether it be in the NHL or wherever the case may be, that probably don't get traded just because of their status or wherever the case may be. But it's not a lot of people, unless you're like someone like LeBron or Sidney Crosby or someone like that, like, who's got like, you know, mega superstar status, and the team would be crazy to give them up. More than likely, everyone else, you're just a piece, and you know, these GMs are moving their pieces, you know, on the board and trying to make all the pieces fit together to make their team as good as possible. So DeMar is not immune from that. So, I mean, like I said, I don't blame Masai for making the trade. You know, he felt that he was going to make the team better, and he did. So we just have to see how things go as far as that go. How, you know, the Raptors are going to work together, and don't get me wrong, it's a huge risk because Kawhi could leave. You know, everyone's saying that he's guaranteed to be in Los Angeles either as a Laker or Clipper next year. And that might be true, I don't know. But, you know, stranger things have happened, and I can't blame Masai for taking a gamble to get a top 5 player in the NBA on his team. I mean, he didn't, in all honesty and no disrespect, but he didn't give up a whole lot in order to get a top 5 player in this league. I mean, you know, I thought he would have had to give up more, and from what we've seen as far as other teams and what, you know, the Lakers were asking, I felt as though, you know, it was, you know, I felt as though the Raptors came away on top as far as this deal goes, and especially if Kawhi decides to resign, then they're really, really coming out on top on this. So we just have to see. Hopefully Kawhi is going to be, you know, 100%. I'm pretty sure that he's going to, you know, play like a man possessed, and the only reason why is because he's got this 1 year. He's got to prove himself to everyone in the NBA that he can still play at a high level. He can't play at, you know, putting up 15 points a game and 4 rebounds and think that he's going to get a max contract. No one's going to be able to trust him and feel that he's an elite player anymore. So all this talk about him not playing or playing half-hearted and all that, I don't see that happening. I see him playing at a top level so that he can prove that he's worth every dollar that he feels that he's worth. So I just hope and pray that this team can get over the hump. It personally took, for me anyways, it took a whole lot out of me to see them get swept out of the playoffs by Cleveland. I mean, that was just madly disappointing. And I would have never in a million years thought that the team that they put together last year and the season that they had, that they would get swept by that type of team. Because to me, Cleveland isn't even that good. They weren't that good, and, well, it shouldn't have happened. I can't explain. Maybe people are right, and maybe there was some mental factor in it. But there's no way that the Raptors should have lost to Cleveland, especially getting swept. Boston, that was missing their two best players, took them to 7 games. So there's no way that Cleveland should have walked into Toronto and slapped them around and swept them out of the playoffs. But it is what it is. It happened, and obviously the organization moved on and moved on from DeMar. They obviously, for them to trade DeMar, they felt as though he wasn't going to get the job done. You know, they tried, they really did. They made every effort as far as assembling a team around him. And at the end of the day, they traded him away because they just said he's not that guy. He's not the dude. He's not the franchise player that is going to lead us to the NBA Finals. They came to that realization. That's why they traded him. Period. So, I can't be mad at that. I understand that they felt that they had to move on from him. They paid him X amount of money, and they felt as though whatever they paid him, he wasn't worth the money that they paid for it, for whatever they were getting out of him. I mean, he's a great player, but, certain things it just didn't work out, and he would have been a great player maybe like 10 years ago with his play style, but the way it is now, his outside shooting became, a huge factor. And I know he worked on it, he got better at it, was more consistent at it, but it was still a huge factor. So with a player like Kawhi, there's no sagging off of him or, begging him to shoot a 3. This team is going to be better spaced out and better defensively. So I'm excited to see how the season is going to go. And, I wish DeMar all the best. I hope that everything works out for him. He's on a great team now. He's got arguably the best coach in the NBA that he's going to be playing for. So he's not losing. He got put into a very good situation. It's not like he got traded to Sacramento or something. So I wish him the best. I hope that he exceeds all expectations in San Antonio, and I hope that this team makes some noise. I mean, they're still they got the talent to be a playoff team. They're not going to be a top seed in the West, but they could be a 7 or 8 seed. So I wish him all the best, and I hope that he excels in his on his new team. So, anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like, share the video, and if you enjoy my content, definitely hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and have a great day. Peace.